Three,
We're on. It's
2,
on
1.
Facebook.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me again for another episode of Dela's Voice. I'm so excited for this guest because I have been waiting a very long time to talk to her. Her name is Dr. Shirin. She has been a chiropractor for the past 15 years. She was assigned as one of the team doctors for the USA women's wrestling team. She's traveled with them all over the world. And then back in 2016, she traveled to Rio for the Olympics with this team, and she was recognized for the wonderful work she has been doing. Dr. Shirin is the health advisor for the Toronto District School Board, where she teaches people, students, the teachers, the parents about health education. And she's also the host of the Talk with the Doc on Joy 1250 and also WDCX Radio, which airs every weekend. So you could say that my friend, Dr. Shirin, has a superpower, and that's to help people. So I'm so grateful for you, Dr. Shirin, to be able to join me on Dela's Voice today. I just know that we're going to learn so much from you because you have a wealth of knowledge. And I just know that you're very generous in sharing that knowledge. So thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Dela. Thank you for that warm introduction. I don't think I've ever had an introduction that was that comprehensive. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was fantastic. I have to be honest with you. I've been running away from this show, not part of it. I was so scared to get on Facebook Live, even though I do these seminars that are like hundreds of people, 200, 300, but I was just so scared of getting on Facebook Live. But I'm glad that you've been huge in breaking that fear. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I can't believe that. Okay, well, you know what? That is totally in tune with our topic today, right? Because that probably caused you a lot of stress. So that's what we're talking about today. Stress and how to alleviate it. How does stress affect your health and how to alleviate it? Now, why is that important during this time, Dr. Shirin? Why is stress so important to talk about, especially right now?
It is because we have T-Rex Rona going on, Corona. And many people, as you know, and we've all been watching the news, many people have lost their job, kids are out of school, there's a lot going on. Now we're having to homeschool kids, we're having to tackle our own jobs, our own finances. So, and then there is that fear of, what if I get Corona? What if my family members get Corona? So many don't even feel safe to go outside for a walk. Our shopping has become masks and gloves, right? Who would have thought? A simple grocery shopping has become max, and you can't even go out for coffee to sit somewhere to be with friends. But we do have lots of solutions. I'm sure you have lots of solutions with respect to stress as well. But this is the reason why it's so important, because this happened to us in SARS as well, 2008, and there were huge implications for it. I'll go through it when we're talking about, and I'll give you some stats and numbers. And we should learn from SARS, because during quarantine, during SARS, many people experienced higher psychological diseases like depression, like PTSD, and those rose after SARS was over. Many of the kids grew up with anxiety, people that their family members were affected with SARS, with anxiety, PTSD, a whole bunch of substance abuse increases. Well, I am from Iran and I lived through the war, and I do know that that leaves a huge impact on you, both psychologically as well as physically, right? So I do know that the Corona is probably not so different, maybe different in terms of war itself, but it's may not be so different in the psychological impact that it leaves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think you painted a really good picture of what would happen if we don't tackle this problem. And I mean, it's there. It's staring us right in the face. We can't avoid it. but we can decrease the effects of it on our own, and that is a totally individual responsibility. Do you agree?
I agree. I think that our goal today is not only just to decrease the effect of it, you're absolutely right, but also to make people aware that it's there, because I think people go through the motions and not knowing that they're stressed, not knowing that this is creating internal stress or physiological response in their body.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually really good. So do you have some tips on how people can tell whether they're going through stress, or is so for me, what should I be looking for if I'm looking for the signs? Am I stressed? Is this stressing me? How is this affecting me? And I know you have a presentation ready.
I do. Is it okay if we go through it? Because
Of course,
probably
yeah.
answer your question really
That's
comprehensively.
awesome. Yes, please do that. Go ahead and share your screen. In the meantime, I'm going to go on Facebook and open Facebook, and I want to encourage people if to interact with us, post comments, ask questions in the comments. Let us know what you feel is stressing you. What are you doing to tackle your stress, the stress in your life? Okay, so while Dr. Shirin is getting ready.
Yeah, so this is T-Rex Rona.
Remember,
we talked about people losing their job, kids are out of school, there's a lot going on. I know for myself that I felt really overwhelmed with kids being out of school. I was like, okay, so I'm responsible for patients, I'm responsible for all these other things that are going on in my life. Now, on top of that, I got to homeschool kids. One of the biggest signs for me was that I felt extremely tired all the time. And I felt that if I didn't have coffee, I couldn't go on through my day. And also, I felt little things really made me upset. Things that normally I would not care for, right? They made me really, really upset until I got a hold of myself and thought, all right, so where is this stress coming from? Some of it is internal stress, like personality. Having a type A personality is stressful. Living with someone that has a type A personality is stressful. Being a perfectionist, these are things that cause internal stresses for us. And always wanting to be positive, because I mean, that's fantastic. I have that kind of a personality, but you cannot always be positive. There are times where you just got to go, okay, this is what it is. I got to deal with it. It's not beautiful and it sucks and it's horrible, but you know what? It's happened. I got to deal with it. But even when we have that attitude that I have to deal with it, that is still creates internal stress for us. And remember, we talked about SARS, and I said we really do have to learn from history. People that were quarantined during SARS in Toronto, they experienced psychological distresses, things like depression, post-traumatic stress syndrome. After natural disasters, research has shown that there is a spike in anxiety, PTSD, depression, substance abuse. When 2008, the stock market crashed, that resulted in a spike in suicide among men in both North America and Europe. Job losses, loss of insurance, these are all associated with mental health issues, increased stress, insomnia. And then, of course, if Ebola, the same thing resulted. But one of the big things we got to keep in touch with is it's just not the adults that are stressed, the kids are stressed as well and not going to school. So one of the things that I changed on my forums are asking them, what happened during Corona to your family? Did you lose a family member? What happened to you when you can talk to your friends? You can play with your friends. I think that sometimes as adults, we have so much going on that we kind of forget to ask our kids to see what's going on with them. And I put this up because I think that this pretty much explains what happens in our body every time we're stressed, whether be it that we're at a drive-through, we got a wrong coffee, we're late for work, we just had an argument, or we have a deadline at work, or we're going through what we're going through. This is exactly what happens in our system. First of all, our brain is the most amazing pharmacy in our body. It creates 33,000 different neurotransmitters and hormones. So it is a big pharmacy. And every single time we're stressed, let's say that we have a tiger in the room right now. And our brain recognizes that that's danger, but we start to use part of our system that's called sympathetic nervous system. So that's our fight, flight, or freeze. And what that does, the job of that system is to save us from whatever that is going to happen to us. So physiologically, physically, this is what's going to happen to our body. Our brain lets our sends signals throughout our spinal cord, right in here, and then it sends signals, and through the spinal cord, it communicates with the rest of our body. For example, it dilates the pupils in our eyes so we could see further, to see where we're going. It inhibits salivation because digestion is not important when you're in danger. It increases our heartbeat so that it increases the amount of oxygen, it increases the amount of blood that's going on to our muscles. It relaxes our airways so that we can get oxygen in freely, so that we can run away if that is the case need to be. It stops our digestion, it inhibits our stomach, our bowels, because again, digestion is not important. Digestion is something that we do at rest, which is why when we're stressed, we start to get digestive system issues. It stimulates the liver to this is cooking. Yes.
Like so many aha moments right now. This is good. Okay.
It stimulates the release of glucose in our liver so that we have this glucose that goes straight to our muscles in case we need to run away from this big tiger that's there, or we need to fight it, which is why part of diabetes is related to stress, increasing our blood pressure during stress, which is why blood pressure is also related to stress. It gets our adrenal glands to produce epinephrine and norepinephrine. So again, that cortisol goes back to all these organs and reinforces what the nervous system was telling it to do. That's important because that hormone stays in our body for a while after that stressful event. It relaxes our bladder and it stops any sexual activity because we're stressed. Co-creation right now is not something that we want to do. We want to either fight this tiger or we want to run away from it. Now, alternatively, when we're relaxed, our digestive system starts to work better. Our heart rate starts to slow down. Airways go back to normal. Again, this is why asthma attacks happen when we're stressed. Our stomach activity starts to go back to normal. Our glucose levels start to go back to normal. And then our reproductive system starts to work properly, which is why so many of the fertility doctors always address stress when it comes to fertility. Because if you're stressed, all those hormones and neurotransmitters are going into your body. They're not allowed, like your body physiologically thinks it's under attack. It is not going to co-create at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how our brain and our spinal cord works? And it's phenomenal what it does. Now, here's where the problem is. When we have a central stressor, when we're dealing with corona, when we're dealing with a deadline, when we just had a fight or a flat tire, or we're being chased by a tiger, that is stress that occurs, that fight or flight occurs in amygdala, which is a part of the brain that is very emotional. I'm going to go through it because amygdala is really important when it comes to anxiety, to hypervigilance, to alcoholism. And when stress occurs, that HPA axis is the one that runs straight to our adrenal glands and does everything that we just talked about. Now, because it's instead of those signals from the brain going to our neocortex, which gets us to think, right? It goes straight into our fight or flight response. And it gets us to freak out. So that it becomes an illogical reasoning. It gets us into a state of anxiety, nervousness. Now imagine if that went to our neocortex and we thought, all right, so listen, we've had a flat tire, we've done this before, and we can handle this. It's a good thing that, and we can handle this. And we think about it logically, we're not as stressed, right?
Yes.
So if you think about kids home, for me, it was kids homeschooling. If I thought about it logically, I mean, during the war in Iran, for a good year and a half, we had no school. I still managed to get my degrees at this point and become a chiropractor. So they can do it too. And this was something that was just in my country. This is something that's worldwide. So it's not like my kids are behind from everybody. Every single kid in the world right now is going through this.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's a good thing that it doesn't go to our logical reasoning. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this system is there to really save our backside. If it was going to our logical reasoning, if you had a tiger in the room, this is what it would look like. For those of you that like cats, you go, I like cats. All right. This is just a
I'm not
nice
afraid of
cat.
this. Oh yeah, I can see
In
that.
fact, I could just go over and pet it. All right. And
Yes.
thankfully, all of this goes straight to your adrenals, and you go, no, this is a tiger. I need to run away.
Yes.
Right. The problem with it is that if you are there are life events that get imprinted in our brain, and then it sets us for that fight or flight freeze cycles all the time, and then we can't break away from it. All right. This is
Can you say that again, please?
right. So, remember, I said that when we are under stress, it goes to a part of our brain called the amygdala. Amygdala is responsible for us to freak out. All right. It's the one that's responsible that goes, oh my God, no, we need to raise our heartbeat. Oh my God, we need to do. So amygdala, it's emotion-based memory processing. Okay. It deals with fear. It deals with anxiety. It deals with post-traumatic stress syndrome. This is a center that's responsible for emotional intelligence, as social interactions, including personal space, modulation of aggression, alcoholism. So amygdala is what's responsible that makes us to freak out. So in normal circumstances where you see a spooky man while we're walking in the dark, amygdala gets us to be fearful. It heightens our awareness, and it lets us go through that system I just talked about, the fight or flight or freeze, right?
Yes.
Now, here's where the problem is. As kids, if we have had early trauma in life, things like divorce, car accidents, being bullied at school, Corona, having to be now homeschooled away from everybody socially, living through war, childhood abuse, just many, many different traumas, this system becomes synthesized early on. All right. And the problem with it is that these kids that grow up, or for us as kids, I know I was one of those people, that we become very sensitive to stress. All right. And then there's two things we do. We either lose complete sensitivity, which means that we become completely numb to what's going on around the world. That was me as a kid. My friends used to make fun of me that Shirin could go through a huge divorce and still finish her PhD. Mm-hmm. And it's true, right? Because I became desensitized from all the trauma that was going on during the war. Mm-hmm. Some people become too sensitive. Mm-hmm. They are continuously in this fear anxiety loop, right? So this constant streaming of these hormones, then it causes some fear-based emotions. So it doesn't allow us to think about it logically now. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Which is what we're supposed to do. And it results in more anxiety, in most post-traumatic stress syndrome, hypervigilance, aggression, than situation really likely calls for with the problem, right? Many of the problems we could just sit there and logically go, okay, this is not, this is something we've dealt with before. It's completely under control. But because of all these traumas and all these continuous stresses, our body becomes sensitized. And this is what happens next. We start to lose resiliency. So we start not to be flexible or adaptable to what's going on. We start to want to control it. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens. So imagine you're going out today and you want to go grocery shopping and you have a flat tire, right? That's a stressor. You come out, you're like, oh, geez, do I really got to deal with this right now in this long weekend? You have a flat tire, so it's a milder stressor for you. Your sympathetic nervous system shows a reaction. If you're in fear-based, you start to go through, I can't go grocery shopping. This is not going to happen. This is a horrible day. You come back inside, you start to argue with the rest of your family. But normal reaction would be, yes, you're under stress. You understand that you have a flat tire. And if you have a partner that has a car, you could borrow his or her car, or you could Uber it, right? And get the shop done. You come home, things go back to normal. Maybe you post about it in social media and things go away.
Yes.
Somebody that is in that amygdala response, that they're continuously being stressed, which is us now, that moderate stress will cause a huge response in all those hormones. and they cannot go back to normal, right? They never go back. You see this red line never crosses the blue line. Why? Because slowly over time, when I go back, because I want you to see this blue line, how it rebounds and the red line comes down. Their parasympathetic, or the system that relaxes them, has lost tone because it hasn't been used, because it is because the other system is so overtoned, it has decreased what's going on. So they have failed to recover back to normal. So the key of things that we could do to go back to normal is to make sure that our parasympathetic nervous system is working properly. I'm going to go back to the slide with the parasympathetic nervous system, the purple sign. All right. Now, the nerve that is responsible for us to go back to not be stressed is called the vagus nerve. They call it the wanderer nerve. It starts at a base of our neck. It comes out and then it diverges into all different parts of the body. And it pretty much does the opposite of what the green nerve does. So it constricts your pupil, gets your digestive system to work, relaxes your heart, gets your sugar levels back to normal, relaxes your muscles, it stimulates your reproductive system. So having gone through that, what do we need to do? So the number one thing that we need to do is we need to get our parasympathetic nervous system to work properly. And it's super easy to do. Ending a shower in cold water can tone your parasympathetic nervous system. Isn't that cool? Hard to do though. Really hard to do.
You know what so you're basically trying to trick your brain into thinking all is well.
Exactly. So for it to have a normal physiological response. How cool is that?
That is so cool. When you know that this is in your control, it's amazing power. But you're saying, you're right, it's not easy, because first of all, you have to be aware.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so let's say we're aware, and look at all these easy things we can do. I don't know about showering in cold water.
Oh, it's hard. I've tried it. I think the most I've gotten to is like 10 seconds. I'm like, forget this. There's gotta be. But when your kids are having tantrum, or when you're feeling really stressed, holding ice in your hand de-stresses you immediately.
Wow.
Yeah, because it changes your sensation.
Oh.
Singing. So actually singing in the shower is fantastic. Keep doing it if you're doing it, but
not in the cold shower.
No, I don't think you'd be able to sing it there. I think you're more shivering in the cold shower. But yeah, like humming loudly, singing loudly, gargle as you brush your teeth before you go to bed. Gargle for 30 seconds.
What does that do?
It relaxes your vagus nerve, because vagus nerve is the nerve that goes to your voice box. It's a nerve that goes into your throat right in here. So gurgling stimulates it. Wow. Right. Rhythmic breathing. I don't know if you guys have heard about the 4-2-4 breathing.
Okay,
so
wait,
you're square, you're breathing 1, 2, 3, 4, letting it out for 2, and then taking it in for 4. Breathing.
I like that. Let's exercise that, but let's go back because you missed a few.
Yes, so I'm going to go back to it in just a second.
Oh, okay. That was on purpose. Okay.
Lying down on your right side, that stimulates your liver. So it relaxes your vagus nerve. Pretty cool, right?
That's so cool.
Now, Valsalva maneuver. So the reason I'm a little hesitant to share that is because if you have a disc issue, or if you have a spinal stenosis, that actually makes your pain worse. So I won't recommend you doing it. But it's pretty much holding your breath in and then bearing down as if you're going to the washroom pooping. That increased pressure, it stimulates your vagus nerve and your parasympathetic nerve. So it's pretty much going kind of a thing.
Okay. So disclosure, if you have any of the problems Shirin mentioned, don't do this. But for the rest of us, okay, can you tell me again how to do that? So you breathe
Take a nice big breath in.
Okay.
And bear down as if you're going to washroom number 2. Hold for 4 seconds and then relax.
Okay. And so what does that do, Dr. Shirin?
all of these stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. So they actually
So
make it to
yeah,
relax.
this one in particular, because I love how you explain them so simply, and it just sticks. Like, it's so good. This is so good. I'm
And
gonna lay on my right side because I know it's gonna relax my liver.
not only that, it relaxes your whole system.
Oh, okay.
And meditation, and this is what you're pro at, Dela, aren't you?
Yeah, I do meditate a lot because I like the breathing that goes along with that. It just, yeah, I'm totally a fan of
You should do a meditation class for us.
You know, I did the 21-day meditation
From
challenge.
from Deepak Chopra?
No, I just
No?
I did it on Facebook Live every night at 11 p.m. for 21 days.
Oh, nice. We should share that. I should share it on my
was
Facebook.
nice. Yeah, it was nice. It was a gratitude meditation. It was really nice. So that, no, for sure, I love meditating.
Now,
Yeah.
address the gut. These are things that we would do nutritionally. So that's a whole big seminar by itself on how to fix your gut so that your neurotransmitters that would stimulate your nervous system, put you in a good mood, would be more produced or would become balanced. Yoga, again, is another one that helps to relax your vagus nerve. Can I go to the next slide? I got more stuff for you on the next slide.
I have a question on Facebook.
Go ahead.
Is there any kind of stress that we cannot control?
Of course there is. There are stresses that we cannot control. What we could do is, this is my personal opinion. Now, Dela, you could chime in on that one. If you can't control it, what do, Dela?
So basically, I put things into two different categories: things I can control, things I cannot control. If it's something I can control, then I feel like you can't really control the stressor, but you can control the way you react to the stress. Am I
Yeah,
right?
I believe, yes, that's exactly what I believe.
So I guess it doesn't matter what kind of stress it is, and there are degrees to stress, and people have different levels of being able to cope with stresses. But any stress, you are in total control on how to react to that particular stress, and that's why people are different when it comes to reacting to the same stress, to the same kind of stress.
And I think that this is where the neocortex logical reasoning comes along, right? Can't stop a war. What do I need to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? We have to deal with it. We have to be aware. We have to be aware that it exists. I don't know if most people realize when they can't control the stress. I think most people don't realize that they're actually under stress. They're not aware of it.
And you're so right. And it's so funny because if you ask, I think it's one of those things in our lifestyle where people can just throw that word out like it's nothing. You know, we talk about, oh, I'm stressed, but really we're not really thinking about that word properly. If I asked anyone to give me a shape, an idea of what stress looks like, I don't think the average person could tell me what stress looks like. But what you're saying makes total sense, because anything that creates, I want to say, a little bit of difference in your sympathetic system and parasympathetic system, right? Okay, so
Yes.
your sympathetic system is the one for fight and flight. And
Right.
so anything that could activate your sympathetic system is stress.
Right. And you know, it could be a crush. You could have a crush on someone and that gets your sympathetic nervous system going.
I love it, because then it could be like the nervousness you felt coming on Facebook Live.
Exactly. That's a stress. That's how I remember I was doing this. I'm like, oh, it's so hot because I know my sympathetic nervous system is going. This is too stressful.
Just so you know, I've been trying to get Dr. Shirin on this for about 4 months now. That it's totally worth it. I mean, I'm so happy that you're here right now, because you're clarifying so much. For me personally, I think I'm learning so much. So please keep going. Thank
All
you.
right. So one of the other things we could do that actually helps the vagus nerve is grounding exercises. And this is how we feel when we walk barefoot on the grass or on sand. So the idea with it is that our bodies communicate using electricity and magnetism. And that electricity and magnetism also exists in Earth. And by this, we could ground ourselves and reset the electricity and reset our body, which is kind of cool. I mean, I love walking on sand. It is such a relaxing thing to do. I love walking grass as long as my dogs have not pooped on it. But you know what I mean? So taking a walk, putting a fun music, feeling the rhythm and dancing, or repeating when we're super stressed. This is a good one. This really, really helped my son. Is centering statement, things that are factual, that are true, that are away from what the stress is going. My name is Shirin. Today is May, what's the date today?
17th.
May 17th. Yeah, I live in Toronto. My favorite color is green. And repeating that statement over and over again, because it's a factual statement, it actually gets your neocortex working. It relaxes you. Who knew?
Oh,
Reciting
wow.
the facts would relax you.
Wow.
Or doing math problems like counting backwards by 7. It re-engages your neocortex. It relaxes your system. So like counting back in sevens, 100, 93, 86, 79, and so on. How cool. This is why they taught us math at school.
Yeah. Yes. I can see getting into trouble like I think it'll be easy at first, but then I really have to engage my parasympathetic system.
Exactly, to be able to run backwards.
Yes.
Now, physical touch, hugging, kissing, cuddling those that you love is probably one of the easiest way to increase our oxytocin. And oxytocin is also the hormone that makes us feel good and makes us feel relaxed. This is my dog, Fel.
Oh my God.
She's a troublemaker. How cute is she?
She's very cute.
She's adorable. Well, you're welcome. I just increased your oxytocin.
She's so cute. And Fel in Farsi is pepper.
Pepper, yes,
so
that is true.
So cute.
Words of encouragement and appreciation. So thank you for Dela for inviting me here. You are a phenomenal, you're a joy in my life. You're so positive. I'm always up when I talk to you as a friend. And thank you for everybody else watching. So words of encouragement and appreciation, guys, it really, really makes a difference in our stress response. Genuine laughing, jokes, meditation we talked about. Now, my go-to is eating. Remember, we talked about this? Eat, drink, and be merry with your friends and family. So that increases your oxytocin. And then, of course, breastfeeding. For those moms that are breastfeeding, it increases your oxytocin.
Because that is a hormone that's
related. That is, yes, that's a bonding hormone that really, really helps. Now, this is me at the start of Corona.
Cruella de Vil. Sure, Dr. Shirin, before you go on, so oxytocin is the feel-good hormone, and it counteracts cortisol, which is the
which is your stress hormone.
Yes, yes. Good.
How cool is that?
Oh, it's pretty good.
All right, so this is me trying to excel in career. This is why we met, Dela. This is the reason why we met. Maintain a social life, drink enough water, exercise, text everyone back, stay safe, survive, socially isolate, and be happy. This was me at the beginning of Corona, and probably for some years in my life after I started practice. But I think that the reason I talked about stress topic was because I was one of those people that didn't realize that I was stressed. Right? Work machine, continuously working, excelling, perfectionist, wanting everything to go well, making sure that I have control over all areas of my life. And I think there got to a point where I'm like, I cannot keep this up. I have to make some decisions. And I have to start really protecting not my just time, but my energy as well. Right? And then reprioritizing. And this is where we are. And this is the result of all those years put in simply in 10 slides for you.
Amazing.
So I have a stress bingo. I guarantee you do this for 9 days straight, it'll actually help you to de-stress. So every day, if you could dip your hands or your face in cold water, shake your body, shaking exercises. I didn't talk about it. You could YouTube them anywhere. It's pretty much just shaking. You've seen how dogs, when they start to play, they stand and then they shake their whole body. That's
Yes.
dogs de-stressing. So
Ah,
shaking exercises that are all over YouTube, you can just have a look at them. They're for a few minutes. It starts to shake your body and it de-stresses you. Sending a loving message.
just
Just
shake it.
shaking.
Just shake it.
Yeah.
Shake it.
This is where bandari dancing comes in.
Yeah.
Okay. Sending a loving message. I don't know that, I know that you probably are the same, but I know that every time that I send a wonderful message or I give a call to a friend, it makes me feel good about myself.
Definitely.
Right? A chiropractic adjustment. I purposely did not talk to them about this because this was part of a really huge research that went on. But if you do have a chiropractic adjustments actually really help to reset the heart rate variability, which is what's controlled by the vagus nerve. Singing a song out loud, walking barefoot on grass, breathing for 10 seconds, vitamin B and magnesium. Again, this was part of the original one that we talked about. Also really helps with stress, and giving a hug.
Amazing. What does vitamin B and magnesium do, Dr. Shirin?
Vitamin B supports the stress, the sympathetic and parasympathetic pathways. In order for some of those hormones to be made and released and to be dismantled, you need vitamin B. So vitamin B is a good calming vitamin, and magnesium relaxes your muscles as well as your nervous system.
That's why I've heard that people who have trouble sleeping take magnesium.
Take magnesium. There are different kinds of magnesium, but if you're having constipation issues, which is also a form of a response to stress in your body, you want to take magnesium biglycinate. If you're having sleep and relaxation issues, I found the one that works best for my family is magnesium chelate powder.
Okay. This is amazing. So I have another comment here. When somebody causes the stress, how could we control it in the person's presence?
How can we control our stress in a person's present?
Yes. Let's say there's someone is the one causing you the stress. And
I know a lot of those someones.
Right? And they're right, like they're with you, they're in your presence, they're in your space. How do you control your stress level in that person's presence?
Dela, that's a big conversation, don't you think?
That's a big conversation.
That is a really big conversation. What I have learned in the past 2 years, going through some of the training that you have gone through, also is I think I am more responsible. I've started to own to that stress that I'm feeling. I've owned up to it. And I realized, I could meet a lot of people that, yes, that could stress me out, but do I really want to be stressed? What do I want to do with this situation? And a lot of times I found is I'm more stressed because they're not doing what I want them to do. They're doing what they want to do, even though I may think it's wrong, right? But I think that just stresses me out more. How about you, Dela?
You're exactly on. That is exactly true. And you said it so eloquently. It's so true that what stresses us is that it takes us out of our comfort zone. So we want to stay there. We want to stay in our comfort zone. So we want everybody else to do what we want them to do in order for us to stay in our comfort zone. And so one question that I've learned to ask myself in a situation like this is, what does this have to do with me? So what I'm feeling is not on anyone else, but really bring it back to me. What does it have to do with me? Why am I feeling this? Basically, what can I do? What is my part in this in this
I,
emotion.
that is actually true. Like, why is it triggering you? I find that a lot of times that when I look back and I'm like, oh, this is similar to so and so situation that I had when I was a kid, or like 10 years ago, I went through this and I haven't solved it. So it's making a comeback for me and it's still making me stressed. That's how I feel.
Yes, yes, but you're right. That is such a big conversation. One I would love to have with you, if you'll be back here, uh, Dr. Shirin.
We
Now,
should be back. We should do an informal one.
yeah, let's do it, but it'll be live on Facebook. I tell you that much because I love these.
You.
If you've started watching us, I want to thank you. I'm talking to Dr. Shirin on the effects of stress on our health and what you can do to alleviate it. We just went through a whole education course with Dr. Shirin, and she went through a whole bunch of slides. I hope that you get to watch this again and again. I know I will. You just have such a great way of teaching this, and I always ask my guests to teach it in a way that a 7-year-old would understand. To be honest with you, you did exactly that, and I want to thank you,
Oh, thank
Dr.
you,
Shirin.
Dela.
Okay, so now let's keep moving. I know that you do these webinars, and they're always so educational. And so your next one is about fibromyalgia. Why is that important, Dr. Shirin? Why are you talking about fibromyalgia?
Fibromyalgia, actually, family member of mine has fibromyalgia, and I've seen how painful it is. We talked about this before Facebook Live started. There's such a stigma about it. I think that fibromyalgia has used to be diagnosis of exclusion. So if you didn't have anything else that we could find, you must have fibromyalgia. And a lot of times they're given antidepressants because everybody thinks that all this pain is not real and it's in this person's head. They're imagining the pain. But I know firsthand from seeing lots of fibromyalgia patients and then going through it with a family member that this thing is real and we really do need to talk about it. We can't keep ignoring it. And we have to create systems for people that have it that could help themselves naturally should they wish to. So we're going to talk about, and as always, I talk about it, there is takeaways from it, things that you could do by yourself to help yourself, and then just to be able to educate everybody. To make the best decisions for themselves. Yes, we do have the webinars. They are on average once every 4 weeks. Last one we had was about sleep. This one is about fibromyalgia, and the next one is about brain fog.
Ooh.
I
I
know
told you
that's a good one.
I'm really interested in that one, and I know that I want to pick your brain on that, bring you on here so that we can have another chat. So people could reach you. We have the information up there on Facebook. Dr. Shirin B, DrShirinB on Facebook. They can email you at info@harmonychiro.ca. That's
Yes.
harmonychiro.ca to join your webinars. You're doing on June 4th, fibromyalgia at 7 p.m. And
Yes.
then your next one is, do you have a date for the next one?
I don't have a date with me right now, but it'll be on Facebook. So if they're on Facebook, they'll be able to see it. It'll go up immediately, but I believe that it'll be somewhere in July.
Okay. That's perfect. That's perfect. Dr. Shirin, what is helping you day to day dealing with the busyness of your life? Because I know you're on the go all the time. You're doing so much, and not just in your family life, because I know you have small kids, but you also have a full-time practice, and you're also doing all these different things. You're on radio and you're doing your webinars. What is keeping you grounded? What are maybe like a couple of things, or maybe one or two things that you do regularly to keep you grounded?
I talk regularly with friends. You know that, Dela, because I've called you on several occasions. So talking with friends is a huge part of my life. I feel like talking not just with any friends, talking with friends that I trust, like you. That's number one. So family has been a huge part of my life. Family really has been a huge part of my life. I find that my spouse keeps me grounded. My kids help to keep me grounded. I have a huge faith in God and the universe, and that keeps me grounded. And I'd have to tell you, physically making sure that I de-stress, exercise and getting adjusted is a huge part of my life as well.
Getting adjusted.
The chiropractic adjustments.
Yes.
I,
Okay.
I find that those really keep me in tune. But I think that I've developed this relationship with friends and with family where, first of all, everybody's on my calendar. So if you notice, every 4 weeks I call you. All right, everybody's on my calendar.
That's amazing.
Today is
That's how you keep it going. That's how you keep it going. That's amazing.
Just look at my. I am super you know how organized I am with my days and minutes.
Yes.
So I am super detailed when it comes to time, but that's my spouse right there in the back.
Oh, hello.
So, yeah.
So this is one way that you control the stress in your life from taking over, because when you're organized the way you are, right, it brings a certain level of calmness to your day,
Control.
even
You're
though
right.
you're busy, right?
Yes. So I think one of the biggest stresses for me is not accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish. And I think that just that was one of the things. Like if it's in the back of my head, then I'm continuously stressed about it. But when I have it organized, then I kind of know that okay, it's there in my, if I can't get to it today, it's there on my schedule for Tuesday and it's going to get done.
I want to tell you that as a friend, I considered you one of the most accomplished women I know. So you're just a constant example for me of resiliency and determination and constantly moving ahead. So I want to thank you for bringing this example into my life. I just wanted to reiterate that for you, that you're an accomplished person, and I'm so proud that you are actually a part of my life. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And should everybody know, when my cup is not so full and I need positivity, Dela's the person I call. I'm like, Dela, this is what's happening. She's like, yeah, let's put it in perspective right now. It's not so bad. I actually enjoyed this. You always have a positive spin on stuff, which is fantastic.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for saying that. Is there anything else you want to add, Shirin, to our talk today? I want to encourage everybody to, if you've missed the first part of this presentation, this has been probably one of the most thorough presentations that I've done on Dela's Voice. One of the best talks, truly one of the best talks, in terms of content and in terms of what I learned personally and the interests that you brought to the table, Dr. Shirin. Thank you so much. So please, everybody, go back and watch this again. Share it with your friends. There's so much knowledge in here, and it's not boring because she puts it in a way that even your first grader can understand. So I really encourage you to share this presentation.
Thank you, Dela, and hopefully we'll see you on our fibromyalgia webinar.
Yes, and we'll have another talk very soon. I'm holding you to this. Put me on your next Dela Day calendar on your calendar.
You will, for sure.
Will you? Okay. All right. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I am so blessed, so grateful, and so honored to have this platform to bring you information, to bring you hope and motivation. This is Dela's Voice, hoping to spark your soul. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.